I have sketched a portrait, an abstract portrait here, and this is going to become my relief sculpture. So this is my like template here. So I drew it to the size that I want with the shapes that I want. And so what I would do now is I would probably take a photograph of this with my iPad so I can always reference what it is going to look like when I'm finished. So I know where to place the eyes, how I drew them, how I want the nose, how I want the mouth. Because we are going to chop this thing up a bit. This is going to become our stencils. So what I would do first is I would go ahead and just cut out the shape of the face itself. And this will become a stencil. So you will need a piece of, you're going to use a lot of cardboard for this assignment. We're going to build the relief with cardboard. So you'd want to trace around your shape. And then cut this out. Now cardboard can be a little tricky to cut, just be safe as you can. When I cut cardboard, I like to just cut off some of the sides, get them out of the way, and then I can just put my scissors back in, and it's a little easier for me to manage. And like here, this is kind of a hard turn, so I'll wiggle my scissors back out, just flip it over, and come in from another direction. A little easier to cut that. All right, now keep your scraps because you'll probably be able to use a lot of those. So here's the shape of my face, yeah? And remember, I took a photograph of this, so I know what it's supposed to look like. Now I can start cutting this stuff out. So I'm gonna go right on in. I'm gonna start with the eye, and I'm gonna cut out this shape of the eye. And I'll grab a scrap piece. So I gotta remember, this is my base. And when you trace, don't put it right in the middle. Put it near a corner, because then you'll have extra cardboard that you can use for other shapes. And it's easier to cut if you just put it right on the corner. This is an assignment where you are going to have a good organizational system, because you're going to have a lot of pieces in front of you. So you're going to have to know what is what. If I start building a relief, this would be the eye, but if we look, my eye has more to it, right? And so I want to layer even more. This is just 2 layers, 1, 2. I want to build even more layers. So now what I'm going to do, I'm going to break down this eye even more. So I'm going to cut this. Again, I have my photograph, so I know what it's supposed to look like. Now this eyelid becomes its own shape. So I will use this piece of cardboard here to trace this eyelid. All right, and what I can do now is I can put glue here on the back of this cardboard, layer this on the eye shape itself, and now I have the eyelid. So now I just need to make the other components of the eye. And now that I've cut up things a lot, this is where you might want to start getting into your, looking at your photograph, what you need. So I know this is the bottom part of my eye. So I know I want this part here to be layered, but this part I don't. I'm just going to leave that as this layer right there. So I'm going to cut this out and trace it on some cardboard. And now, see, this is such a tiny shape, and I can just use this tiny little piece right here, and I can glue that down like that. And there we go. And that's how you're going to build every shape that you create. So what I would do after I have this shape done is I'd kind of organize my space a little bit. If I want to, I can go ahead and just glue this eye down. If I know where I want it, there it is. And now I can work on my other eye and build that how I want. So eventually this stencil will get all chopped up into all the kinds of different shapes to help you create the shape there on your cardboard. All right, so this is building a relief sculpture. Notice how I have my layers. I have 1 layer, 2, 3, and even up into 4. I'm building off of a flat surface. That's a relief. Okay, so now that I've glued everything down, to make it extra secure, we're going to get some runny glue. So this is just glue with water that I've mixed together. And we're gonna paint this all over our relief sculpture here. And this is just to give an extra layer of security since we are going to be doing things with the piece itself. We want to make sure everything is super sticky. So just make sure, like, definitely paint around the edges of shapes. You don't need to put glue like where nothing is sticking. So we will leave this to dry and then I'll show you what comes after this process.